A very good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are tuning in to this live stream today. Hello, my name is Nishit Kotak. Global namaste to you all. Uh, Please do let us know in the comments area where you are watching this live stream broadcast from today. We are from the Hindu Academy team. We meet every Saturday, 2 o'clock UK time. And if you are new to the broadcast, I will just give you a quick rundown of how this broadcast works. We meet every Saturday at 2 o'clock to discuss any questions around the topic of Hinduism. And we start with a focus topic. Today's focus topic is going to be Navratri, one of the most widely enjoyed and celebrated festivals in the Hindu calendar. And after that, we will then launch into a general Q&A session, and we will wrap up by around 2:50 or 3 o'clock today. So let's get started with today's broadcast, and I'd like to share this video from Jay Bhai, which is all to do with Navratri. Enjoy this, and I'll be back soon.
God's manifesting power, Brahman and Shakti, are interrelated. You see, we sometimes forget about that. So this idea becomes visible with the idea of Shakti. So Shakti is not different from Brahman. It is very much tied, part and parcel of Brahman. It's just when we try to put our minds around it, we separate them out. God and God's manifesting power are very much one and the same. It is we who got this kind of habit of making this distinction. So Devi Shukta has recognized the manifesting power as a very crucial feature. And you see the most visible idea of Mother Goddess is Parvati. You see, with Vishnu, we had 4 arms, and all these gods come with many heads and many arms. With Parvati, you get a goddess with just 2 arms. So easy for her to go shopping in Marks and Spencer. Otherwise, with 4 arms, tricky chap stuff. So goddess with 2 arms. We say, why are they not giving such importance to the Mother Goddess? Why only 2 arms? And Vishnu has 4, and why all these 2 only? Parvati is the most potent feature of the idea of Shakti as a person, as a personified, as a consort of Shiva. Why 2? This empowers every ordinary woman as the clearest manifestation of Shakti on earth. Because if suppose the women say, we only have 2 arms, we are not like Lakshmi ji with 4 arms, so we are not really mark. They say, no. The most potent feature of Shakti is Parvati, 2 arms. So you ladies are in trouble. You are the manifestation of Shakti here on earth. So you've got all the potency of Shakti, power. So it empowers womankind, lifts them to the highest level. You are that. You are what you are searching for. The manifesting power that is visible in you, women. Shakti, very visible. Now, what are the features of the Shakti idea? You see, there is this lovely story of the Mother Goddess demolishing a demon called Mahisasur. Now, that is the kind of allegoric story. Because, the state of Mysore, the city of Mysore is named after Mahisasur. This is where the Mother Goddess went on the hill and demolished this Mahisasur. So I went up the hill to see exactly where this thing happened. But I know it's allegorical. It is story format. But really what this particular story depicts is this. This is the part, the lovely part, the depth of this teaching of the Shakti path. He said, do you know what demon you need to demolish? Not an external demon wandering around near Mysore, but the demon that lies within you. And this demon has got 6 faces. And the 6 faces of this demon are anger, lust, greed, jealousy. These are the inner demons that you need to demolish. Why should you control these inner demons that Mahisasur is asking for, this Mother God is asking for? Because when you are able to, if you like, demolish or destroy these inner demons that we possess, then do you know what happens? What shines through? Our real nature as the spirit or as consciousness becomes visible when you can overcome these human frailties, these human limitations. If you can overcome these human limitations, then our real nature shines forth. So the story of Mahishasura, Mother Goddess demolishing these demons, is really a story of mankind, saying that if you fight your inner demons, these things that kind of demolish your life, destroy you, that rattle your system, if you can keep them under control and overcome them, then your real nature as spirit becomes very visible. And that is the aim. This very, very nice thing, for example, there's a very important aspect of the Mother Goddess teaching which comes in the Chandi, part of the Markandeya Purana. And this is what it teaches. It says that really speaking, and we all sing the bhajan from this. You see, he said, Yada, this idea that the same goddess who now appears as mother, the same goddess who appears as Shanti, the same goddess who appears as wealth, that goddess I worship. That means this idea of Shakti permeates whole of human kingdom. It is the same God that we worship in different manners. So the idea of seeing God here and now become very visible through various features. That is why this lovely poem that we use from the Chandi, this lovely hymn that we sing from the Chandi, it is the same Mother Goddess who appears as Shanti, the same Mother Goddess who appears as Shakti, my power. And this idea again says, religion not something to believe in, but something to put into practice. Recognize these various features, human facets, and beginning to see the revelation of the Mother Goddess of Shakti in these various ways. And this is visible when we, for example, celebrate the Diwali function. We celebrate the idea of Mother Goddess as Lakshmi, that Mother Goddess who expresses herself as wealth, that Mother Goddess who expresses herself as knowledge, Saraswati, and that Mother Goddess who expresses herself as the old destroyer, Kali. See, this idea of Kali is again a unique feature because it is, it is morbid, it's not. It simply recognizes that the very force that produced this creation is the same force that can put it to an end, then can crunch it up. See, there is no other external power. It is Mother Goddess playing in all these different forms, interacting and behaving like this. So again, we celebrate the idea of Mother Goddess through the celebration of Navaratri, spending 9 nights. What are the features of 9 nights? You see, the idea of celebrating Navaratri is not saying that just simply adore God as the mother. It is in a way, you see, this idea of dancing around the image. How did it spring up? Do you know? It was to invoke strength in men and women. This feature of dancing, you get in a frenzy, you get in a kind of a state whereby you invoke strength within yourself. So it is not saying just worshipping God, it is saying making sure this God that I worship becomes invoked in me, becomes visible as strength, as Shakti in my own being. This is the idea of Navaratri, invoking strength in us. This is a very strength, if you like, it's a very invigorating, very empowering teaching of the Hindu tradition. Idea of invoking.
So there we go, folks. So the festival of Navaratri, which normally falls between September and October, is a festival that lasts for about 9 days, hence the name Navaratri. And just to give a flavor for those of you who don't know what it is or how it is celebrated, I am going to try and show you a little clipping that will demonstrate how Navaratri is celebrated typically. So enjoy this video as well.
लोचन पे लाल लाल चंदन की घोरी बाल कुमकुम के सरसुलाल घुमते साजे कोमंडल की कसमा लग जाए तेरे मेरे हाथ आगे मुलाकात आगे आना है.
So there you go. I hope that gives you an insight into how Navratri is celebrated now. Hindus all around the globe are gearing up to celebrate Navratri, which starts on Monday, this coming Monday, and will end on Wednesday, the week after. So let's find out all about Navratri, what it is, when it is, how it is celebrated, what are all the different aspects about it. And I'll bring Manish Pai and the team here today. So we have got today the full team in house. We have got Manish Pai, Sita Ben, Vijay Pai. Manish Pai, over to you.
Thank you, Nishit Bhai. Wonderful festival coming, one of the most popular for Gujaratis all over the world. Gujaratis love Garba, and Navratri is most favorite of their festivals. So could you please tell us the background story of Navratri, how and when it began, and what's the story behind it, please? Sita Ben?
Yeah, it's a really beautiful story, as Dad was saying in the video. So there's a story about this horrible demon who's rampaging around and destroying the world. And all the gods are incredibly worried because he's got this boon that he can't be killed by any man. So, you know, everyone is panicking that, what can we do? How can we stop this demon rampaging around? And then all the gods from Vishnu Shiva, they got together, and with their sort of magical powers, they produced this feminine energy, this feminine force called Shakti. And she was given, you know, so many divine weapons in order to battle with this demon. So she came down to battle with this demon on the hill, which Dad mentioned in the video. Apparently it wasn't an easy battle. It wasn't just ding, it's done. It took a long time. It took a period of 9 nights. So she was battling away with this demon. And eventually on the 10th day, which is called Dashera, is basically Vijaya Dashami, the 10th day of victory, is when the mother goddess was able to defeat this demon Mahisasur. And in a way, perhaps it's kind of symbolic that it wasn't an easy battle because she had to fight for a long time. And I think possibly the reason for that is the allegory that Dad mentioned, is that when we fight our own inner demons, it's not just an easy battle. You know, we have to fight our own inner sort of anger and greed and jealousy and all of these things which are rumbling around in our system. It's like a long ongoing battle. And when we have this beautiful festival of Navratri, we are kind of invoking strength within ourselves, because Mother Goddess is the personification of strength. And we're saying that all women and all of humanity has actually got that inner strength within us that we're not even aware of. So it's good that we have this festival to remind ourselves, look, hang on, we have this inner strength within us to defeat our own inner demons. And that's why we have this beautiful community feeling where all of us can kind of invoke that strength, remember the Mother Goddess, and enjoy the colourful story as well. And especially for children like my daughter, she loves the idea of Parvati and Mother Goddess and going to these Garba festivals, and she loves it because it's such an incredibly colourful narrative. And it's also, as you grow up, you then start to understand the deeper significance of it as well. So I think it's wonderful that within Hinduism we really celebrate the idea of the feminine power, because not many religions in the world have this feminine aspect. I mean, you know, you've got the pagan tradition, but all the other religions in the world, it's always men everywhere. So it's lovely to have a festival which really celebrates womankind. Vijay Pai?
I think Sita, you have covered it pretty beautifully. Not much to add. All I can add is that it's important to remember that it's combined energies of all the male gods. So to say, you name it, hundreds of gods. The combined energy of all that into one Mother Goddess. You can imagine how powerful that Mother Goddess must be. And that's the kind of, in a way, as Sita said, it shows that strength also in us. We have the infinite strength in us as well to defeat our inner demons. And I think that's one thing we should remember when we do Garba, that actually it's fun as well, no doubt. But how do we fight our own? You know, this 6 Kam, Krodh, Lobh. I can't say in English. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Matsya. Well, this, you know, I think Kam means lust, greed, anger, all this stuff. So that's the main, I think, battle, and we all face it all the time. So I think we have to keep that in mind more than anything else when we do Garba this time around. Yeah.
Wonderful. So during Navratri, which is one of the most important celebrations in the Hindu calendar, devotees are paying respect to Goddess Durga over the 9 days to honor the 9 different forms that she took on. And during this period, usually people would observe a fast, perform a worship called a puja, and celebrate the 9 displays of Durga's feminine power to the world. Now, each day is marked with a different color, and worshippers also dress in colors which correspond to the day. People wear their best sort of traditional clothing to attend, like what Vijay Bhai said, a Garba and Dandiya, a traditional dance night all over the world. So in 2022, Navratri starts on Monday, the 26th of September, and it ends on the Wednesday. And on the colors that are representative for each day, so on the Monday, we got white. On the next day, we got red. On Wednesday, we got royal blue. The Thursday, we got yellow. Friday, it's green. Saturday, it's gray. Orange is red. Sunday is orange. Monday, it's green. And then on Tuesday, again, it's pink. So each one of the colors are representative of the different forms of Mother Goddess. Now, Vijay Bhai, how is Navratri celebrated in different parts of the world?
So I think generally it's very similar. As you mentioned, it's celebrated basically of victory of evil. So in different parts, I think in some countries, like I know in India, they have competitions as well. They're so dedicated, they have trained for Garba. And my wife is a very good Garba player, but they actually, there's a lot of dedication. And I think in different countries, there may be some little variation, but generally it's the same all over the world. Yeah. Sita?
Yeah, nothing much to add. I mean, it's pretty similar all around the world, and I think it's beautiful that we can celebrate it all over the world, and it kind of allows people of not the Hindu tradition to be sort of exposed to it. So you could take your friends there and you can explain to them what this festival is all about, and hopefully they'll also enjoy it too.
Wonderful. Then we also have the Dussehra celebrations as well. And these are also, they can vary across the world. But I know in north and west part of India, they usually have Ram Leela. They are honoring Lord Ram. And the celebrations center around Ram Leela, basically a theatrical reenactment of his life. There would be hundreds of plays involving drama, dance, music, and performed in outdoor festivities with friends and family. And then you would have this huge effigy of Ravan, which would be later set alight to signify the destruction of evil. But Manish Bhai, over to you to ask a few more questions on this very interesting and colorful celebration.
Navratri is also celebrated very bigly in Bengal, but it's called Durga Puja, and they, I think, do it differently. If you could enlighten us more about that, please, Itabin.
Yes, so I mean, every part of India kind of, as we said, loves the idea of the Mother Goddess, but especially sort of the northwest part of India, where Ramakrishna is from. So this idea of the Mother Goddess is very popular in this part of the world. And I think they give more emphasis to the Durga Puja than to the actual Garba dance in that part of the world. So yeah, they commemorate the Mother Goddess, they celebrate her, they do long sort of pujas and worships, and I think it's really beautiful because it's all about invoking that inner strength, and you do it in different ways in different parts of the world, and there's not much more I can add to that.
No, I think that's about it. I mean, all I can add is that generally, I think in that part of Bengal's part and Northeast and South India, is Vijayadashmi celebrate this defeat of Mahishasura by Ma Durga. But in North India, in Gujarat, we celebrate the idea of Ram defeating Ravan. So both kind of stories kind of interact. for that. And in both cases, they burn kind of effigies, of the defeated personality. But nevertheless, again, it shows that when you destroy that, when you burn that, it's actually, again, burning our own inner vices. After 10 days of dedication to Mother Ma Durga, and you put Navratri, the 10th day you say, okay, I'm going to burn all those vices out now from your own body. So in a way, it's symbolic. That's, you're not just burning a image of, the demon or whatever. It's also hopefully burning the demons within us as well.
So as Jaibai was mentioning that this Sakti Puja, many Hindus are actually believing in Mother Goddess, and Mother Goddess is their central deity, and they're called Saktus. Could you elaborate more on that, please, Vijay?
Okay, so yes, so I mean, actually in India, people generally divide in generally, not necessarily all of them, but the big groups are, Vaishnavites, Shaivites, and the Ganapatiyas, which Ganapatis goes on, and the Shaktos. These are the four kind of big groups, yeah. And the Shaktos are vast in number. All over India is Shaktos who actually believe in the idea of Mother Ma Durga or Mother Goddess. So it varies across all over India depending on which deity you believe in. And quite often I've noticed that different communities have their own form of Parvati and their own Mother Goddess. You can have Khodiyar Ma, Amba Ma. So they all have their own variations. So the thing is this, because the manifesting of power of Brahman is so diverse and vibrant, it expresses in so many ways. That's why we have so many goddesses. We have, art, music, learning, Saraswati, wealth and beauty. You have, the idea of Lakshmi. So you have the idea of time, Kali. So we have so many gods because the manifesting power manifests in so many ways. So the Shakti comes out in so many ways. So you can see the Mother God in so many different ways. So it's beautiful like that. So I think it varies all over India. But I know that, like where I come from in Kutch, there's a very, very famous Mata no Bad, and people actually crawl, you'll be surprised, on their stomach for about 100 kilometers. It takes them days to do it. That's how much dedication they have. And do all kinds of, penances to do that. So the idea of believing in Mother Goddess is very, very popular in India. As a matter of fact, even people who believe in Shaivites or Vaishnavites, even they have an ancestral Mother Goddess that they actually go and worship as well. Interestingly enough, even some Jains I know also have their own ancestral Mother Goddess they go and worship. So Mother Goddess is very, very popular. Even if you worship no matter what deity, you always have Mother Goddess next to you. And it's very, I mean, the Shakti thing is such a powerful thing in Hinduism that even I believe in the Indian army, there's one of the most powerful things. They actually invoke the goddess when they go into battle. So in all kinds of facets of life, wherever action is required for any kind of activity, Mother Goddess is kind of invoked. Sita?
Yeah, I think you're completely right. I mean, I think it's actually, when you think about it, like the idea of thinking of the ultimate reality or God as female, it seems quite natural because it's something that sort of sprung naturally from the Indian subcontinent. Because if you think about it, women are the ones who give life. And if you think about it, it's an incredibly magical thing that the female is able to do. So I think it's natural that you think of the ultimate as the one who gives life to the universe, essentially. So I think it's wonderful that you have this nurturing motherly figure that you can look up to, somebody who you can sort of rely on, somebody who you can cry to, somebody you can pray to, and mother is always a very, very special sort of relationship that you have. Everyone, that's the first relationship you have when you're in your mother's womb. The mother is the first one that you have that relationship with. So it makes sense that the mother is the one who created the universe, gives life to the universe. So it's beautiful that we have this as such a central idea in Hinduism.
Wonderful. As Vijay said, there are many local goddesses, and some of them have these stories or Vrat Kathas associated with them. Some of them are, as Vijay mentioned, Asapura Mata in Mata no Bad in Kutch. There is Dasama as well. There is Khodiyar Ma. There is
Amba Mata.
Sitla Mata is popular.
Mata, yes.
And there are, I think, in other parts of India, there'll be other local goddesses who are very popular in those parts of the world. And the central idea behind it is this Sakti, idea of Sakti. And two scriptures Jaibai mentioned was Chandi and Devi Suktam. Could you tell us more about Devi Suktam, please, Vijay?
Okay, Devi Suktam is very, very famous. I mean, it's actually based in praise of Mother Goddess, right? And it's, what I would say is that it's one of the most popular kind of scripture dedicated to Mother Goddess. And Sita mentions, it talks, the good thing about Devi Suktam, it talks about the caring part of Mother, the compassionate, the loving, right? And all these beautiful kind of, words we use for caring, love, compassion, mercy, like a child, like she's our mother, like looks after our children. All these kind of beautiful verses come out. And it's really amazing to read that. It feels, I guess, I'm not a woman, but it feels like it's like a mother thing. You can see that his Mother God is speaking and how much she loves the children, which is, of course, all of us. And of course, that's not the only one. There's so many others. I mean, the one I like a lot is by, Uma Sahasram is very famous, written by Ganpati Muni, who was a disciple of Raman Maharishi. He's done a book with 1,000 verses, praises to Mother Goddess. And it's so amazing, the mother of the universe, the supreme creator, right? The giver of energy, yeah, the compassion of love, everything. I mean, it's everything regarding the mother is basically in that book. Or even the other one, I think there's another one as well. I forgot the name now, which is 1,000 orders to Mother Goddess. There are quite a few like that, right? So, I mean, also, don't forget, there's also Devi Puranas, the many Devi Puranas, which sing the glory of the Mother Goddess. So Sita mentioned the Mother Goddess is very, very much part of Hinduism. That's all I can add to that, Sita.
Yeah, not much more I can add to that either. I think, as you know, we've got so many deities within Hinduism, and each of them have a very sort of devotional sort of songs, mythology, stories around each of these beautiful personalities that we've got in Hinduism, all these gods and goddesses. And especially if you have that sort of innate love for a particular deity like the Mother Goddess, when you sort of open it and you read the books, it invokes such tremendous devotion. You may spend a few minutes every day just reading it and feeling uplifted. So that's the wonderful thing, is that all of these deities, the Mother Goddess and Shiva and all of them, they all sit together so harmoniously, and we've got such a variety. We're actually spoilt for choice as to which deity we want to focus our attention on. So I think it's wonderful that we've got that. And even the sort of non-theistic aspects of Hinduism is also present, because even the idea of thinking of the manifesting power, the manifesting force of the universe, and it's kind of given a female sort of quality. I think it's beautiful when you think about it.
It's wonderful to hear. We got a question from Safe Planet. He's asking why some people, so during Garba, many places it happens that especially when the arti is being sung, some people start shaking, and it's called matana. People say Mother Goddess entered that body and sort of they start behaving a bit strangely, and they maybe start doing Garba around the image of Mother Goddess. So these things do happen, and many people witness this. So he's asking, is there any truth to this phenomenon? Do Mother Goddess come into people's body and do these things? Could you please tell us what's happening?
Okay, look, I've seen that as well many times. All I can say is, I think a lot of them are just because when you're in a very communal kind of environment, it happens in all religions, by the way, not only us. People get this kind of so worked up when they get this. There may be some genuine, but I don't think all are genuine. Very few are genuine in my view. Because the thing is, remember one thing: Mother Goddess will only come to you if you've conquered those 6 vices that Jaibai mentioned. If you have conquered them, it will not come to you, right? If you have all these vices in you, then why would you first clear those vices out? Then Mother Goddess will come openly to you. So in my view is this: I know some people don't agree, but my view is that only maybe the very, very few genuine cases. A lot of cases just because the environment that is in the environment, there's so much communal kind of frenzy, some people may have it, but mostly the very few. That's my view on this, Sita.
I mean, because I try and look at it sort of logically, and because it doesn't make sense to me, I don't really believe in it. That's my own opinion. And I think, as Vijay said, sometimes it might be this sort of crowd mentality. And it's not something that just happens at Navaratri. It happens at all kinds of festivals, secular festivals, even music festivals. People start behaving strangely when they're in a big group of people. And I think it's just part of human nature. And another thing which also makes, I'm trying to think of it logically, is that really would the mother goddess come and possess you? Surely she's got better things to do. She's such a magnanimous, spirit. Why would she come and sort of, inhabit somebody's body? It doesn't make sense to me anyway, but people may think differently. But yeah, I choose not to really believe in that.
I think answer to this question, once Jaibai mentioned, is there is likely to be spirits around who wants to enjoy that festival. So they somehow get into other people's body and try to be part of the festival. And it's like if you are very attached to that festival, and if you're around and you're a spirit, then maybe you're able to enter people's body. And some people are more susceptible to this kind of being taken over by spirits. So that could be one of the possible reasons. What is in actuality, we don't know. Vijay Bhai, would you say this could be the case?
So as I mentioned, I think more than worrying about whether mother's coming to somebody or not, try and remove your vices. That's your goal, right? I mean, a lot of, as I said, Sita, a lot of other cases. I have an experience, so I really can't say. But all I can say is that there may be some very, very few genuine cases. But generally, I think it's to do with the environment. Because you see that in every festival, not this one. You see it also in all religions, by the way, have this kind of stuff. I've seen some churches doing that, and people go really in a frenzy. They say, I've got Christ in me. So it happens a lot. But I would say that if you're genuinely God realized, then it doesn't really matter whether the goddess comes in, because you are the goddess, right? Already. It's part of you. I mean, it's like Ramakrishna Paramahansa. That's how his nature is. So try and be such a person that you actually become godly yourself, right? Rather than waiting for this only at certain times of your life to happen, right? That's all I can say with that.
Okay, we have a question from Charmaine. She's saying, if Hinduism is so goddess-centric, why is the common Hindu household generally so patriarchal in nature? Sita Ben?
Yeah, it's a big problem. I think because we always love the idea of the mother goddess, and this idea of religion and spirituality is there. But we have to remember that there's a whole extra social dimension that we have to consider as part of our sort of human existence. And because of the sort of circumstances, the sort of social dynamics and all the various things that we've been through throughout our history, I think, society has become patriarchal despite having this huge sort of, female empowerment sort of aspect to the Hindu religion. When it kind of comes to the day-to-day daily practice, unfortunately, it has become incredibly patriarchal. And it's not something that's just in the Indian subcontinent. It's something that's globally in so many places. It's patriarchal, and it seems incredibly unfair, especially some of the things, which women have to go through. For example, they're not given an equal status. They were not allowed to go out and earn a living. They just had to stay in the house and look after children. They were given a secondary role. And it's incredibly unfair because the theory is all the way up here and then the practice is all the way down here. But I think as humanity is sort of progressing and, our attitudes continue to evolve for the better, I hope, we are changing that. And it takes a long time for systemic change to happen. But I think gradually we are getting there. And when you look at India today and the whole sort of, the female market is out there, they're out there ready to work. And it's really sort of beneficial to the whole Indian, subcontinent, that the whole half of the population is now able to freely go out and work. They're able to do what they want to. They can have careers and they can have families as well. It's not that they have to pick one or the other. So I think it's wonderful that we are starting to progress, but unfortunately the theory is up here and the practice is down there, and we are trying to resolve it in the best way that we can. Vijay Bhai?
I think Sita, you have got it pretty comprehensively. It's true that, I mean, to be honest, I'm currently in the Manusmriti, which I really shouldn't, but because all people quote it, I'm reading it. And it's just bizarre, some of the stuff in there. And he says that, things like, a woman should live under a father when young, under a husband, then under a son, and you should obey your husband. Sometimes really, really strange stuff. And the thing is, then you have some voices here, which is like kind of, pampering, kind of, which is really, really it's strange that, oh, women are revered, but you can see it's just not really right. But it's been the case for so many years. It's very strange because in the Indus Valley civilization, the most common figurine you see is of Mother Goddess. Yet through times of India, you have seen like even there've been a lot of patriarchy. Even now there is. I think in the Gupta period in India, there's a lot of freedom for women. And again, it got suppressed. In the last 1,000 years for invasions of India, a lot of women rights been suppressed. And now it's coming out again. And I can say that despite all the news you hear, generally the women are getting much, much more, but at least in India, actually in the whole world, I think that women are still struggling. I just hope that they get the due. That's all I can say. Yeah, on that point.
Yes, agree with you both. But as Sita Ben said, it's the balance is shifting, and I think Jaibai has said as well, the women are coming back with vengeance. So watch this space, maybe 20, 30 years down the line, the situation may be different. We take a next question from Magpie Moon has mentioned that he had a vision of Ma Kali while in a deep meditative state. And she was enormous. She never looked at me, but allowed me to dance in the darkness with her around a large fire. Wonderful experience. Thanks for sharing. And hope that it was the kind of wow experience that Jaibai talked about that changes the life and changes the your whole outlook. Vijay, any?
No, I'm glad if you and it exchanges your life, hopefully for the better, and give you more discipline and more spirituality. Then good for you. That's all I can add to that. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I mean, that you're sharing your experience with us. And I think it's one of those things that when you sort of wake up, when you have a dream like that, you feel so incredibly uplifted. And you know that it's not just your imagination, there's something much deeper there. So I think that's wonderful.
Okay, so when we talk about Mother Goddess, Sri Ramakrishna always come and he had this profound vision of Mother Goddess Kali. And then he was able to give that experience to Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda as well. And Swami Vivekananda composed a song on Mother Goddess Kali as well, which is quite famous. Your thoughts on that, Sita Ben, please?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredible because you always think of Swami Vivekananda as being incredibly logical and intellectual and all of this. But then Dad has said many times in his videos, when you look at the heart of Vivekananda, he's a true devotee. He's just sort of an outpouring of love. And when he sort of comes across a real vision of the Mother Goddess, it just completely blew his mind. And I've mentioned this story before. His Swami Vivekananda's own family was going through a lot of financial difficulty, and Vivekananda told Ramakrishna that actually I don't know what to do. I mean, my family is going through all this financial difficulty. I'm a monk. What am I supposed to do? And Ramakrishna says, go and tell the Mother Goddess. She's the Mother Goddess after all. Let's see if she can resolve your problem. And then he went up to the Mother Goddess's temple, and he didn't just see the statue, he saw the actual real Mother Goddess. And I can't even begin to imagine what that must have been like. And all of these thoughts of financial worries and stress just melt away in the presence of the Mother Goddess. And every time he went up to her, he just says, oh, bless me with your vision. And he just completely forgot to ask about these questions. And he would leave the temple saying, oh, I forgot to ask. Then he would go back and then say, oh, Mother Goddess, I love you, and leave the temple again. And he just kept forgetting, because I think that's the thing about God vision or having a spiritual experience, is that you always kind of go with the intention of, oh, I need to resolve this material problem and this material problem, and God is there, God will help me out. But when you actually are in that experience, it's so incredibly mind-blowing that it blows away all the cobwebs of material sort of thinking, and it just feels completely irrelevant and stupid to even ask for it. So I think that's really what this wonderful story demonstrates, is that in the presence of this divine sort of glory, all of these sort of things just drop away. And I think that's probably why people say, why is the world the way it is? Why is there so much suffering and all of that? And the reason why we haven't actually got an answer is that when these God men have come across this vision of spirituality, all of this just drops away. It just doesn't feel relevant anymore. Like the material world just feels like a dream. And you don't go back and analyze, why is this like this in my dream? It's just a dream. It's not real. So I think that's really what this story demonstrates. Vijay Bhai?
Not much to add, really. I think one thing we have to keep in mind is that, I mean, when you read his lectures and his volumes, he comes across an intellectual giant, but actually Vivekananda is more than that. If you look at his personal life, then he's very, very compassionate person, very, very, loving, intensely spiritual. And we have to keep that in mind as well, that he's a very spiritual person, not just an intellectual giant, but a spiritual person as well.
Okay, we take a next question from Safe Planet. Is that asking, what is the significance of fasting during Navratri? Is there anything scientific to it due to seasons changing? Vijay Bhai?
I don't think it's linked to seasons changing, but fasting is also generally very good for many reasons, discipline, for your health. But remember, as you mentioned earlier, for Navratri, the key thing is to fight your inner demons. And fasting is one way of fighting the inner demons, is discipline your body. And that's the main thing. Of course, it's also seen as pleasing the mother goddess, because you are trying to change yourself, right? You're trying to make yourself a better person. And fasting has the thing is that any penance we do, any sacrifice we do, we offer it to God. And fasting is a kind of a sacrifice. So you offer it to God, but indirectly also helps us to become a better person. That's the main reason for fasting. I'm not sure of any season changing of any scientific reason, or other than that reason. Yeah, Sita?
Yeah, not much more to add. I mean, the whole idea of fasting is to show that you've got discipline over your body. You can control your body and your mind, and you're using that energy to focus on God, something higher. So it's a good sort of exercise for us to undergo every time there's a festival.
We take a next question from Industrial Air Cooler, saying how Jaisar was permitted to teach Hinduism in England. How to start teaching Hinduism in India? Sitaben?
Yes, I mean that's just the bizarre way the world is that you are allowed to teach, the most British of British institutions. You're able to teach Hinduism there freely without any sort of worries at all. And in India, the heart of where Hinduism started, you're not allowed to teach it, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So we've mentioned previously, actually, we're working with somebody in India who has got a lot of connections with a lot of schools. I think he said it's a lot of army schools. And he's been working with us to try and develop a course which doesn't mention Hinduism, which just talks about spirituality, but still we are able to bring to the fore all the ideas which are present within Hinduism. So it's strange that we have to try and avoid using the word Hinduism when we're teaching the same things about reincarnation and law of karma and all of that. So hopefully in this very sort of convoluted way, we're able to reach out to the Indian sort of community, the younger generation, and hope that it can influence their lives for the better, because he was telling me there's a great deal of stress and pressure among the young Indian sort of generations because, for exams and all of this. So, having a spiritual outlook can really help you to manage stress and deal with, all sorts of challenges that you face as a young person. So, it's a shame that the whole spiritual heart of Hinduism has been stripped out of India, but we have to try and reintroduce it in a new way. And I hope that the current government will eventually come round to the idea of thinking it's okay to teach Hinduism as Hinduism one day. Vijay Bhai?
Yeah, I mean, what I can add is that, it's really sad in India that you can't teach Hinduism. And it's got a lot of issues has been caused by that. I mean, I think in the Indian constitution, when it was first formed, it was said that religions will not be taught in schools. The only exception was made for the Islamic community, where the madrasas are funded by the government. For some reason, exception was made for them. The rest of the religions, they have to fund it privately to teach religion. They cannot teach it generally in a normal state school, which is really sad, because what it has done in one way is create a lot of misconceptions, because people say that, this religion did this, that did this, you're this evil, because nobody's taught. In fact, people they pick information from other places, which are far more extreme sometimes. So there's a really big price India has paid not teaching religion in school. I mean, the idea is not to teach to convert people, is to give them an idea of the heritage. When you don't do that, they get picked from all kinds of places. There has to be a systematic way of teaching religion, which luckily in UK we can do. And I hope in India it happens as well. I know that a lot of schools want to teach Hinduism. Like Sita mentioned, the Kendra Vidyalayas, yeah, which are run by the Indian Army. They want to teach this to give them some spiritual angle. But the constitution is set in such a way that it's even to change it is difficult now because you need 2/3 majority to change the constitution. So it's not just changing the law, it's changing the constitution, amending the constitution. That's how tough it is. I hope at some point India gets a good government with enough majority to actually change and allow. I mean, I'm happy to teach all religions in school, not just Hinduism, all religions to a systematic manner. So at least people understand beliefs of other religions as well in a systematic manner, rather than picking it from all kinds of extreme, places. So hopefully it'll happen. But I mean, I think the project Sita is working on at the moment in India is so much needed. Hopefully that succeeds and that's something, yeah.
It's a work in progress, as Vijay Bhai and Sita Ben said, and we need to keep working to try to give that education in India. And one of the ways, social media, we are trying to make some Hindi videos and contribute in our own way to try to reach out and bring all this material to people that need it. One serious things that happen in UK, and we have a question from Kapil Sharma about it. He's saying, Namaste sir, just want to ask how Hindus are tackling and uniting against growing attacks on Hindu community. So background to this is we had the Asia Cup happening, T20 series in back in Dubai, and there were some matches against India, Pakistan, and after that there were some problems between Hindus and Muslims, and this has escalated and gone on in UK, where some Islamic groups have demonstrated outside Hindu temples in Leicester and Birmingham. Very worrying sign on the back of some fake news, as police have discovered. And what I would say is inform to police and let's get police involved and let them tackle this. And I think stand together and let authority deal with it and find the culprits who are causing this trouble, and let them, help police find these culprits and get them punished. Anything to add on this, Vijay Bhai?
Yeah, I think one thing you have to be careful about is that quite often just 2-3 individuals can psych up an entire crowd. And when you're in a mob mentality, you think like a mob mentality, don't think like an individual. So we have to be very careful. I think the other thing is also, there's a lot of issues in India which are kind of pouring out around the world. What's happened in India now is that the Hinduism is now kind of reclaiming a lot of its heritage. And that has caused a lot of other kinds of issues people don't like. I mean, there's a huge temple building spree going on. And because now India is feeling that they want to detach from, the colonial mentality and all that's happening now. And so many after effects happening. So quite often people really should not bring the subcommunity, because living in the UK, we should try and focus on this country and how we can better our lives here. But quite often things happening that kind of influences us as well. But outside, in this case, follow the law. That's what Hinduism tells us, to follow the law of the country and respect the law and try and use the law to find solutions to the issues that we have at the moment. But I don't think this will stop that easily, because it's going to go on. There's a lot of underlying issues regarding territory and all kinds of, this is just the excuse. The match is just an excuse. There's a lot of underlying issues. And that requires a lot of commitment from elders of communities, police, the government, to try and sort this out. Yeah. Asita?
Yeah, I think another thing that we have to also consider is the damage that social media can do as well, because if you start Googling for something negative, then all these other suggestions start popping up of even more negative stuff, and it really polarizes people's views. And it's something that doesn't just affect the Hindu and Muslim community, but it's something that affects so many aspects of our life, politics, and this party pitted against this party, your left or right. And it's really frightening, the effect of social media in polarizing people's opinions, because it kind of entrenches you deeper and deeper into a more sort of extreme view, because you get influenced by these videos that keep popping up and suggestions which keep coming up. So we have to be very sort of wary of social media and try and avoid, going down this route of going more and more extreme in our points of view.
Yes, agree. If you are sharing something, make sure it's correct, and don't share fake news. If you get something like that, don't just forward it to people. Be careful what you're forwarding to people as well, because you could be contributing to hate crime, which you shouldn't be doing. So be careful with the use of social media, as Sita Ben said. We take next question from Safe Planet. Is ask your thoughts on Bollywood commercialization of Garba, please. So what does happen is used to be Garba would be in Gujarati mainly, devotional songs to Mother Goddess and things like that. And now people play Bollywood music and do Garba on Bollywood music as well. What are your thoughts on that, Sitaben?
Well, it feels like a bit of a contradiction in terms, really, because the idea of, the Garba music is that it invokes this idea of devotion to the Mother Goddess. But a lot of Bollywood songs are all about sort of, as Dad would say, lovey-dovey stuff. And it completely contradicts the whole idea of what Navratri is all about. And it's a shame because, as I said before, the theory is up here and then the practice is down here. So all of these things are at risk of sort of degenerating. And this is what this is an example of. And many times I have sort of seen when I go to Garba, it just becomes like a dating site where you go to Garba, because it's all about, oh, does that boy look nice? That girl looks nice. And you just forget that it's meant to be a spiritual festival and it's not a dating agency. And unfortunately, that's what it turns into. And it's really not right. But, this is the human nature is. We have these beautiful theories, but when it comes to practice, we forget the potency of the spiritual ideas. And I guess that we have to keep reminding ourselves that it's a spiritual event and it's not a dating agency, and it's nothing to do with Bollywood lovey-dovey songs. Vijay bhai?
Yeah, it's some interesting thought on this. When I was young, about 30, 40 years ago, I remember that most of the Garbas in my area, when I was growing up in Kenya, were only women only. There was no men in the Garba. And now it's over the time, now it's become kind of mixed, festival. Nevertheless, that's not an issue. The issue is that the key thing is whenever there's a big event, people come and make money. I've noticed that also in our community, they say, if you want to sponsor this page, this ad, you can pay this much money, we'll put this commercial advertisement for you. So this is the thing, when you have a large gathering, people tend to take advantage and do their own commercial stuff. And Bollywood is no different, or businesses are no different. But I hope that we still try and not do that. I know it's hard, but try and keep our focus purely on the spiritual aspects. And we should try and really keep our mind on that. But as the nature of things are, when it comes to commerce, everything goes, unfortunately. But we still have to try and fight it with what we can. So I can add to that, Buddhist Bhai.
Wonderful. We take one last question. Ayush Sharma, no, sorry. Koraputia Bro is asked, what is the difference between science and spirituality? And what is a multiverse according to both of you? Two questions wrapped in one. Vijay bhai?
Okay, first of all, there is no, in Hinduism, in the deeper level, there is no difference between science and spirituality. As I mentioned in a couple of videos back, I said that in the ancient Gurukul system, they were both seen as spiritual endeavors, science, geography, history. There was no distinction. I mean, that's why I've said that even when people do sciences, they always invoke the goddess, mother goddess. So ultimately, they're all streams of knowledge. And the question is that you can see a lot of synergies as well when you do some science and you do some, study science or you study spirituality. There's a lot of synergies because ultimately they're going for the same goal, right? To discover what is the inner human condition, to try and resolve those answers. So in effect, they're the same, ultimately the same kind of goal. You'll be surprised also in science, like when you do, like in physics, an atom can be seen as a particle or a wave. They're so different, yet they're the same ultimately. I remember reading this book, it's called Fermat's Last Theorem. It talks about the, a squared plus b squared c squared. And then you have, so what the theorem says is that anything above power of 2, you cannot have that doesn't work. It always, give the answer. And I was looking at the guy who sold that puzzle, Professor Cambridge, and something to do with a plus a to the power n plus b plus c to the power n. He sold it with tessellations, like tile laying out, something totally different, found an answer to some different problem. So much is so interconnected. And Hinduism understands that. And they accept that, look, if you pursue science, it's a spiritual endeavor, sports, spiritual endeavor, and ultimately get the same answer. And that's something that ancient archers understood a long time ago. So in that sense, they're both the same goals. And you can find synergies. There Jay-Bai has so many videos you can look at how the idea of spirit, underlying spirit, which is underlying force of everything is non-material. Same with Werner Heisenberg, Schrodinger, they all link each other, right? So that's the main thing to keep in mind. But Hindus have always thought like that anyway. So that's all I can add to that. Regarding multiverse, a lot of Hindu philosophies believe in multiverse. Like I think even some of the mythological stories talk about multiverse. So multiverse, many Hindu philosophies talk about multiverses as well. Sita?
Yeah, I think Vijay, you've covered it amazingly. So this idea that literally both science and spirituality are seen as contradictory in terms. One is about matter and one is about spirit. But actually what we're finding with the latest cutting edges of modern science is that actually the whole material world that we're so used to has actually got a non-material foundation. And that's essentially spirit. What else could it be, right? So it's amazing that it's kind of synergizing and becoming, coming to the same conclusion. What science is finding and what spirituality has found is coming to the same conclusion. And I guess that's when the two will converge. It will hopefully benefit humanity a great deal, because science really cuts across all the barriers of religion. Science is something that anyone can relate to in any part of the world. And hopefully that's the unifying thing that will help lead a lot of people towards a more spiritual way of living.
Fabulous. Where has the time gone? It's now almost 3 o'clock, time to wrap up soon. But before we do wrap up, I just want to say that, thanks to Jay-Bai, I started watching some of these videos about quantum theory and this, that, and the other. And my God, what I thought the world is made of is just like going down another rabbit hole. And it's amazing to see that whether an object is animate, inanimate, has conscious, doesn't have conscience, but at the base level, everything is made from the same stuff. How amazing is that? And energy seems to be the thing that is unique between everything. We still have a long way to go to understand things. And I don't know if we really will ever comprehend everything, but it does leave us with a lot of room to think about things and challenge the way we normally think about things. And so that's a really interesting thing to explore. But we did have somebody who asked a question about fasting and the scientific reason for it. And I came across a little article here which explains the scientific reasons behind it. So one of them is to detoxify the body so that the body feels much better, allows the gut to cleanse and strengthen its lining. It also promotes mindfulness. So when you are fasting, your body is going to convert fat into energy, and the end product of that is something called ketones, which is what your brain uses for energy. It also is a time when you have harmony between body, mind, and soul through prayer. It fosters self-discipline because you're not going to eat at the time when you're normally going to eat. And although your mind and body is going to tell you, eat, but you're going to force yourself to fast. And that's going to hopefully result in some clearer skin, some little bit of weight loss for you. It does help in awakening the 9 chakras as well in your body. And overall, it promotes great health for you as well. So it's some really good health benefits. Now, for those of you who normally join us on a weekly basis, I love to end with a quote from Swami Vivekananda. But today I thought, just going in line with the occasion that we've got, I'll share another quote instead today. This is a quote. I'll just wait for the screen to load. This is the quote. May the 9 avatars of Ma Durga bless you with 9 qualities of power, happiness, humanity, peace, knowledge, devotion, name, fame, and health. So may you all have a fantastic celebration during the Navratri period. Have a most blessed week ahead. Thank you to the team here who've done an amazing job. Sita Ben, Vijay Bhai, Manish Bhai, thank you so much for running an excellent show. And thank you to all the viewers who've joined us from all around the world. We have people who are watching us early morning in the USA, to people watching us late evening in India and elsewhere, and of course, local viewers here in the UK as well. Thank you to each and every one of you. We look forward to seeing you next week on Saturday, 2 o'clock UK time as well. Very soon, towards the end of October, we will be having a change of time. So as we come closer to that, I will alert you so you can adjust your viewing hours accordingly. And we will then have the time in the UK will be the same, 2 o'clock, but for you, it'll be either an hour, it'll probably be an hour behind, I think. But we will adjust once we come closer. So thank you and bye-bye for now.